In 2016, longtime horseman Tony Jones set out on the first of 2 cross-country journeys on horseback. He did it to raise awareness of issues American veterans were facing. Here is his story.
My grandfather was a veteran and stuff and whatnot, but it's really kind of strange. I can't really even tell you. I mean, it just came over me, and you have to say I did it. Veterans we can't take care of them. There's nothing we can do besides support them. Get behind them and get what they need, but veterans need to be in charge of each other. Honest gosh truth, with 4 horses, a friend that couldn't make it on parole, and a $20 bill in my pocket. And 4 months, 21 days later, and 1,600 miles later, I was in Washington, D.C. And then in 2020, I did it again. But this time I went from Rio Vista, Texas. People told me it was the only unsupported trip ever attempted east across America, but there was never a time I wasn't supported. I mean, America just come out in droves to meet me. And it's just what I learned and what I saw. I mean, I probably was, for quite a while, I was probably the most famous homeless person in Fort Pierce, South Dakota when I got back. We had a Facebook page, and my sister ran that page, and she'd let a lot of people know, and a lot of people didn't, but it would just snowball. I went out there looking for one person, I found thousands of them. I rediscovered America in a roundabout way, at least in my book, because, the true beauty of America isn't just in her landscape, it's in her people. The best part was the horses. I mean, they were trying to buck you off. I was 400 miles into the ride somewhere in the middle of Iowa and sneezed one morning. That little red horse I had bogged his head and like to buck me off. And then, the last time I took a Minnesota bred, and one I got from Troy Bethke. I got 3 horses from Troy. Troy's been, like I said, a huge supporter of this, and part of the things I was able to do was thanks to him, because of the horses and because of, just the support and whatever. But his name was Bryson's Confession, and man, he was not the most personable horse in the world. He'd run his stall and stuff, and he could care less about you. But I got out there and I got to going, and the first day when I got him home, I just saddled him, rode him down to the local bar and had a few beers with the boys and made him stand there. And pretty soon he got to liking people a little better and stuff, and you can't imagine how good them horses are. Like I said, I'm very thankful. I've been around them my entire life. My dad put me on my first one when I was 6 months old. And on July 16th of this year, I'd been riding for 60 years. So I was in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, and the chief of police was there. He's a great guy. To this day, we're still friends, and he got a place for me to camp, and I had Bryson tied out there. And we get out of the pickup, we went and got some feed, and probably some beer and some pizza and stuff like that. And he gets out of the pickup, and he's got great eyesight, because he looks down and said, "Don't get your horse and don't let him move. There's a snake down there." And I mean, I hate snakes to begin with. And so we got to where the snake was, a little pygmy rattlesnake or something. I don't know what he was, but couldn't really tell because Bryson had stomped the guts plumb out of him. And that night, where I was sleeping in my little shelter half deal, he never left there. He never took off and went and grazed. He never went out by himself. He stayed right there next to me the whole night. And I never considered myself any more than a messenger of a witness or whatever, but then I got to a place in Indiana, and I met this young man who was a veteran. He was a combat engineer, and when I shook his hand to leave, I said, "Man, I'm proud of you and thank you." And he said, "Hey, I'm but a grain of sand in a beach of glory, but one grain of sand." And I said, "You know what, though? Every beach of glory started with one grain of sand."